the seat taken?
Nobody's in the seat, then I ain't taking, friend.
So this is the back?
Sabak.
What is up, scoundrels and card players? Welcome to the very first episode of Sabak the Block. Obviously, due to a few technical difficulties, RB3 is holding down the fort, but we are still doing it. We're doing it live. This is episode 1. I'm here with my co-pilot, my fellow card player, Miss Emma Fife in the house.
Hello.
What
I
is
just
up?
completely realized that I forgot to pause my robot. So I was in the midst of having my floors automatically vacuumed by a Roomba. And it was in my bedroom and like down the hallway in the bathroom. So I couldn't hear it and I forgot it was happening. And then I was like, oh dang, but I'm great.
All good. Emma, how are you feeling back into the Star Wars community, back into the Star Wars universe?
Man, I felt like so semi-disconnected from this world because I haven't really necessarily been doing too much talking about Star Wars specifically, even though in my job, we do cover, sort of the big Star Wars news. Like, obviously, we talked about that first trailer for The Mandalorian, but and we've been talking a little bit about sort of the reaction to Star Wars Squadrons as well. But it's nice to just, be back with people talking about Star Wars. This all sort of came at a really interesting time because there was a guy on Twitter, and I'm going to give him credit for it. Let me just find out so I can appropriately credit, who had, so it's Brian Chittum. He's at Orion Power 2001 on Twitter, had recently shared a sort of retrospective saying that he was, I don't know if he's like rewatching Pencils and Parsecs or what. For anybody that doesn't know, Pencils and Parsecs is the Star Wars RPG that I was on for almost 2 years at Hyper RPG. So basically we were playing Edge of the Empire, which is one of the Fantasy Flight Star Wars systems. And we were just making up a Star Wars story, a totally original one, original characters as we went along, and broadcasting it live for people who could affect the show with their donations and various other contributions. But he posted something about that, I want to say, on Sunday night. And so it just kind of like full circle brought me right back into Star Wars and just like how happy being involved in this fandom has made me. And I really credit Pencils and Parsecs with like making me feel comfortable as a broadcaster in Star Wars fandom, because it was the one place where I couldn't be judged because I could never be wrong. You know what I mean? Because like, I feel like a lot of the time there can be a lot of gatekeeping in fandom. Yes. And when I was doing a show within the Star Wars universe where like I was playing a person who just was a Star Wars character, I didn't feel like, oh my God, I need to know everything because people are going to judge me. I felt like, well, if I don't know it, then Kilara just doesn't know it. And it felt like this really safe space to play around and explore and just enjoy everything I love about Star Wars.
And that's kind of what my thesis statement on this show is. Our thesis statement, Emma, because I feel like we're all a part of it, is that I feel like within the Star Wars community, we get the opportunity to represent another side, a side that doesn't necessarily say no to different opinions or doesn't want to hear your thoughts or opinions, or if you prefer the prequels or you don't like the sequels or anything like that. All opinions are valid. It's the idea of allowing and expressing our love for stuff that we do enjoy and being allowed to like that and being allowed to enjoy it. I am notoriously the Star Wars lover of the sequels, of the spin-offs, of the prequels that I really do enjoy. And I feel like that is welcome inside our community. So that is what we represent in Sabak the Block. All players welcome. Everyone can get a seat at the table. If the seat is open, you can sit right down. Just like Lando says in our intro, that's a fire intro. Thank you to David B.
Yes,
and RB3,
David. Yes, and RB3. Great work.
Thank you so much for that, obviously. And with that being said, we're going to our first segment, which is the Star Wars news. go into the Star Wars news.
I heard a story about you. I was wondering if it's true.
So let's see if this is true. And the first story that we have today is basically just about Star Wars Squadrons, Emma. Everyone has been playing it over the weekend, over these last 2 weeks that it's been out, or a week and a half that it's been out. People are kind of losing their collective minds because they get to be a Star Wars fighter pilot. Emma Fyffe, have you gotten the chance to play this? And if so, what are your thoughts on this game?
Can I tell you, I have not actually played this game yet.
Nice.
And my Twitch community knows it's because I've just been playing Genshin Impact, which is basically a gacha game that is inspired by Breath of the Wild. Gacha game, if you don't know, is a game where a big element of the game is effectively like drawing for or rolling for better characters and items to sort of be added to your inventory or sort of squad lineup. So I've just been playing that and collecting waifus and husbandos, mostly waifus. And I have not played Star Wars Squadrons. So this is the thing, is that I do really want to play this game, and the reason is, number one, of course, it has been getting extremely good reviews. This is a period in Star Wars history that is absolutely fascinating to me, which is that time after Return of the Jedi, but before we get as far ahead in the future as the sequels take place. Obviously, I mean, like, listen, Harrison Dula is in this game. I gotta play it. But first person fly a ship and shoot things game, not one of my strong suits when it comes to gaming. And I'm definitely one of those people that if I try something and I go, am I immediately good at this? No, then I hate it. But because of the sort of Star Wars of it all with this game, I do want to like give it a fair shot and practice and try to be good at it and not just get frustrated and give up.
I echo that. Absolutely everything you just said, because I am the same. I suck at fighter pilot games.
Yeah.
Star Fox 64. Shout out to N64 playing Star Fox when I was a little kid. I sucked at that game.
Yeah.
Anything that has to do with flying around, I'm terrible. The Battlefront 2 flight mode where you pick your favorite ship and you try to shoot each other down.
Yeah.
Nope.
Nah, not so good at that.
So it's one of those things where I haven't been able to play it. I recognize and I acknowledge the quality of the game.
I downloaded it. I got it on Steam. Like,
yeah. And I see that people are obviously raving about it when it comes to game experts, when it comes to Star Wars fans, when it comes to people who play video games only sometimes. Pretty much everyone across the board has been giving it high praise and saying that this is pretty spot on, is feeling like a Star Wars fighter pilot. One of the cool things about the game that I wanted to touch on a little bit, Emma, because I think you mentioned this, is the idea of playing this in VR, which apparently takes it to like a different level, to the point where it's like so immersive. At least that's what I've heard from people that have done it.
I feel like I would like it in VR because, all right, listen, this is a take that's probably not right, but somebody mentioned this one time at a convention. We were all at the hotel bar drinking afterwards and just talking about all the stuff we like. And somebody mentioned the idea that for some people, for a small portion of the population, first person perspective in a video game, they can't do because you don't have peripheral vision. So in real life, if I was walking around with like a Torbjorn hammer or something, I would be able to see, hear, and hear also. But in a video game, this is taken away, so I can only see here. And they said that some people just can't handle that and they're terrible at first person perspectives. And I don't know if there's any science behind that, but I stand by that being my problem. But I think that if it was in VR and I had more of the illusion of having peripheral vision, I might do better. I don't know.
Yeah, that's definitely a theory, and that's definitely something I would love to try out, is this game in VR. Eventually, when I have the time and when I have a little bit more time to become a fighter pilot, because I really do feel like I will suck so bad and I just know it. But either way, I had to give a shout out to Star Wars Squadrons. The final thing I want to end this segment on, Emma, is the idea of what what ship we would fly in this. So we have the option of an X-wing, a Y-wing, an A-wing, or a U-wing. So apparently these are all based on the X-wing is the fighter pilot, the Y-wing is a bomber, the A-wing is the interceptor, and the U-wing is support. So keep that in mind, not just the ship itself, but what it represents.
See, I might do better with a U-wing. I might do better providing support and less trying to shoot things.
I actually thought about this too, and not just because the U-wing is one of my favorites, because I love the design of the U-wing. I think it's so freaking cool. But also because I do feel like I will suck so bad that I will be the guy that be like, hey, you guys need water? Hey, you guys need help?
Yeah, anybody need a snack? Like,
yeah, you guys want an apple? Some peanut butter? That will be me in the background of this game. But either way, I have to give a shout out to that game. Everyone in the chat, I definitely want to know what you guys are currently flying, what ship you're flying, if you're playing Star Wars Squadrons, or what would you fly? And I have to give a shout out to everyone in the chat right now. Obviously, this show is definitely going to be generated from you guys. Shout out to the chat right now. We have Alex G, Amazing Web. We have Star Wars Thrifting. Everyone in the chat right now, we have DT3. Sound off and let us know what would you fly. And thank you so much for joining us on the very first episode. Let's move on to the green Psylop.
If you'd only had this little green Psylop, you would have beaten death.
Yes, that's right. And we do have this little green Psylop, and it's basically going to be our Mandalorian preview. Emma, this is coming out very, very soon. We just had a new teaser trailer. We had the trailer previously before that featured Sasha Banks. I'm excited for this. Obviously, a lot of people are excited for this. I have my child mug that represents the child.
I ordered myself a child, which sounds very weird out of context, but in the context of the show, you understand what I'm saying. Yeah, there's so there are a variety of child toys available now to people who so choose to get them. And the child that I decided to get is the one that's like $60 that Hasbro makes, because I have a friend and colleague who has one, and it is very cute and expressive. So I'm very excited to get my Baby Yoda. Apparently he will be in stock on November 1st. So just after the premiere of The Mandalorian season 2, I will begin to live that American dream, which is having a Baby Yoda in every household, you know?
Yeah, it's really remarkable how Baby Yoda took over the world pretty much in every single way. I think it's amazing. I swear I had people come up to me who have seen maybe one Star Wars movie, and they were like, oh my God, I'm watching The Mandalorian and Baby Yoda's incredible. And I'm like, how do you even know what this is? I think it's incredible how much people love this show and how much people have catered towards it. What are your anticipation levels for season 2? And what do you expect to see in season 2, Emma? Do you want to see more like a storyline of a wolf and a cub? Do you want to see more side quests and adventures? Do you want to see new planets?
Yeah.
What is it that you're anticipating?
Surprising nobody, I think, that knows about me and things that I like very specifically in Star Wars. What I really want to know is more about what happened on Mandalore and what happened to the Mandalorians, that we ended up with this kind of covert underground group in the first season who we met, who the Mandalorian, Din Djarin, was like part of. So yeah, I'm very, very much looking forward to season 2 of The Mandalorian. I think that it does an incredibly good job of being very accessible while still rewarding you for having been a longtime Star Wars fan. Because I think that, you know, there's a lot of things that they're incorporating, particularly as far as The Mandalorians go, that comes from some of that, like now what's considered to be Star Wars legends. Because I know that there were definitely people who were maybe a little iffy about Filoni's choice with the Mandalorians as far as what their involvement was and their sort of stance, et cetera, during the Clone Wars. And so I think it's really fun that they're incorporating this idea of this like sort of ancient warrior civilization that had been left behind, but not entirely. I I want to know. I want to know who rescued him when he was a little kid. Okay. I'm going to throw that out there. And then, along those lines, I think that this is a series that is in a good position to potentially, at least in a guest star format, incorporate some characters who maybe appeared in like animated Star Wars. I don't know. Just throwing that out there.
We'll get to that. Absolutely get to that, because that's probably our main segment of the day when we get to Full Sabak, which is our speculation segment. But yes, that is one of the things I'm anticipating the most. Obviously, the history of Mandalore and what we've seen from Mandalore in the Clone Wars is one of the most important aspects of this whole show, considering that we have all this previous knowledge. So we want to know what happened. What was the Great Purge?
And also Star Wars Rebels, you know what I mean? Because it's like where we left things at the end of Star Wars Rebels, it was looking pretty okay. You know what I mean? Like they'd come in, they destroyed the weapon that Sabine had engineered when she was a student at the Imperial Academy. Bo-Katan got the Darksaber back. She was, by my estimation, and I think for all intents and purposes, kind of resumed the position of the Mandalore. So how did we get to where we are? And how did Giancarlo Esposito get the Darksaber? That's
the biggest question of them all. And obviously we're going to hit all that when we get to Full Sabak. And you know what? Let's get to Full Sabak. So Full Sabak it is. Yeah.
Full Sabak.
Full Sabak.
Let's go.
So our Full Sabak segment is our speculation segment, guys. We will see if we go Full Sabak with some of these segments, with some of these ideas. The first one we have for Full Sabak is a little bit of Ezra speculation that's been brewing around the internet, specifically around Twitter, specifically around a actor that just had a show come out from Bly Manor, The Haunting of Bly Manor, Rahul Kohli. I'm sure I'm mispronouncing that. I apologize ahead of time. But either way, Rahul has been teasing some sort of Ezra involvement, either show or live action representation.
So
but
basically,
he's been doing this for a while.
He has, and he had a tweet recently wherein he was wearing a Lucasfilm sweatshirt, and there was a picture of Ezra on his laptop behind him, like as if he were watching Star Wars Rebels, perhaps to do research.
Yes. And this is one of those things. RB3 is pulling up the image right now. And it's one of those things where he's been doing this for a little bit, Emma, which is why I feel like it's worth talking about, because this isn't the first time he's done this. When he's kind of briefly mentioned some sort of involvement with Ezra, I want to speculate away responsibly, as the Force Center guys say, in a way where we get to see, will we see a live action Ezra either in a show, either in the Mandalorian, possibly, because we know Ezra disappeared in the final season of Rebels.
He did, yeah. He and Thrawn went off into the void with the space whales.
Yes, which is incredible. Will it be Rahul who plays an older Ezra? Emma Fife.
Okay,
that is my Full Sabak question to you.
I have been trying to do the math on like how old Ezra would be. So Ezra's like 17, 18, I want to say, at the end of Star Wars Rebels. So there's a few years that take.
That's the first thought I had too.
Yeah, the original trilogy takes place over a few years. And then this is only supposed to be 5 years after that.
Which is why I did the math and I was like, this doesn't add up.
Yeah.
No offense to my boy, but
no offense to
but I was like, bro, this is probably,
frankly, Rahul Kohli is my age.
Well, that's kind of why I posed the question in this entire episode, not necessarily in The Mandalorian, but maybe in a show on Disney Plus where it is an Ezra that is Rahul's age.
Okay.
does that make a little bit more sense, Emma? Where it's not
Yes.
necessarily Mandalorian, but a spin-off on Ezra Bridger.
Yeah, I think that it's more, I don't think we'll see Ezra in The Mandalorian, but I do think that I'm just going to make a bold statement. He's getting a Disney Plus show. Everyone's getting a Disney Plus show these days. So that's how we're going to get the rest of Ezra's story. It's going to be a Disney Plus show. Whether it's live action or animated, jury's still out for me. But
Ooh.
we're not going to just like leave Ezra floating around in space and we don't know what happened to him.
So you feel like he can maybe do a voiceover of a
Sure, yeah.
live-action Ezra?
He's done voiceover.
Yeah, no, I'm not. Yeah, I just didn't even consider that. That's a great point.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my thing is like, I really do feel like Disney Plus is in a moment right now where they're
Yeah.
realizing that they can take a lot of characters and simply give them their own show. I mean, frankly, they're doing it with Obi-Wan. They're doing it with Cassian Andor. Why not do it with Rebel characters, considering the success of Star Wars Rebels
Totally.
and considering the great character development that people have come to love from it and the possibility of expanding their story to new audiences that don't necessarily watch the animated series. I always said it's a great opportunity for people to watch a new live action show and be like, I want to learn more about Ezra. And we could be like, well, this is Rebels. You should watch it.
And that's why I'm standing by Ezra getting his own series rather than appearing in The Mandalorian, because if he just appears in The Mandalorian, that gets into the territory of being too fan servicey and potentially off-putting fans that are not into Star Wars Rebels. Now, obviously, I think Mandalorian's doing a really good job of incorporating, like I said, a lot of elements, for example, the Darksaber, amongst other things, but that one certainly comes to mind because that was a big element of the finale of season 1 of The Mandalorian. So I think they do a really good job of, once again, making the show super accessible to new fans while still rewarding you for being a longtime Star Wars fan. Now, that isn't to say that they couldn't incorporate like an Ezra or somebody, but I feel like that requires a lot of explanation that isn't relevant to the story that's being told in The Mandalorian. It's unlike including Bo-Katan Kryze, who we know is going to be in The Mandalorian, because again, like that is actually essential to the story that's being told in The Mandalorian. It's like, what the heck happened to the Mandalorians? So I do think that they wouldn't just throw Ezra in there to be like an Easter egg and a throwaway. I don't think that would do that character justice. So Ezra is going to get his own series.
Yeah, I feel like that's the best way to do it. And I feel like you can do a lot of stories with that. I want to jump to the chat real quick.
Yeah.
People are starting to speculate as well. We have Bradley Burnett that says travel with Purgilus can age you rapidly. That's a possibility.
I mean, maybe we don't know. They could say that.
Could age. Yeah, they could age rapidly. Some sort of thing like that. Some people are saying that we don't necessarily know that maybe he can come up a little bit later in The Mandalorian.
Sure.
I mean,
sure.
Amazing Web also says that Rebels made me fall in love even more with Star Wars.
Same.
Yeah, that's a great point.
That's a hard same from me.
But either way, there's a lot there, and I feel like it's an open opportunity for people to do that. And speaking of Mandalorian season 2, and speaking of characters that make sense to appear, will we get a Sabine in The Mandalorian season 2? This is my favorite question, Emma. This is my favorite full sabak speculation, because I feel like this is another one that I feel makes total freaking sense, considering the Darksaber connection, considering the Mandalorian connection. Sabine is one of the most famous Mandalorians we know of, and she's alive, and she's one of the most popular Star Wars characters, and she's like iconic already in Rebels.
Yeah. And also, I have to be honest, like Tia is the right age to play her.
Oh, who?
Tia Sakar, who does her voice.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even consider that. That's a great point.
That's kind of the thing is like, I think Tia's the exact right age to be, or she could certainly play the age that Sabine would be at about this time. That was the other thing to me, why it was a no-brainer to bring Bo-Katan in, because Katie Sackhoff is basically the right age to play Bo-Katan at this juncture. So
yeah,
I really, I don't know if I think that she will actually be on the show, but I would love to see her on the show, very specifically if Tia in fact did get to play her, because it's really nice to have a character who does, to me, read as being a person of color, who is
Yes,
voiced
she
by a
does.
person of color, and getting that opportunity to have that kind of representation in Star Wars would be dope. Plus, I just love Tia Skar. She's great. If you have not watched The Good Place, I highly recommend. She's so funny on it.
Yeah, no, that's great. And there's a lot of opportunities for a casting for Sabine to
Yeah.
be a woman of color. I really do
Yeah.
feel like that's incredibly important. But Sabine, regardless, to me, I wrote about Sabine a little bit on Geeks of Color. Shout out to Geeks of Color. And I said that she is one of the best Star Wars characters, considering her story, her character development, the idea of what culture she comes from and how relevant that is nowadays, considering that she represents this different side to the Mandalorian culture of individuality and an artistic style and value that she adds to the group is something that's just truly a timeless Star Wars character, in my opinion. Sabine is amazing, and I would kill to see a live action Sabine. And who better than Sabine Wren and Bo-Katan to face off against Moff Gideon?
I know.
How cool would that be, right? Like, I really do feel like that connection, that storyline would be one of the best, considering we have two powerful women in the Star Wars universe teaming up with the Mandalorian to take down Moff Gideon. I think that would be one of the coolest storylines. And I really do feel like a Sabine would be great. Now, here's my final question to you on the full sabak.
Yes.
Emma, when it comes to Sabine, are we buying in? Are we going full sabak with Sasha Banks being Sabine?
No,
No?
I'm gonna shut that down right now. Sasha Banks
Okay.
is not playing Sabine. I love Sasha Banks. I'm so freaking stoked that she's gonna be on the show. I hope she gets
Yeah.
a lot to do. But in my brain, Sasha Banks is playing an original character. I saw her in that black robe and I was like, please just let her be a Night Sister, which would be dope. But they're all like aliens and she'd probably be more like dark side force warped and stuff like that. But I don't care. I want her to be a dark side force user or like somebody that's not afraid to dabble in the dark side. If we're going to have any sort of force usage, give it to me in the form of Sasha Banks. She's probably a bounty hunter or something, but I stand by she is an original character. She is not playing Sabine, but I'm very excited that Sasha Banks is going to be on the show, and I can't wait to find out more about who she is.
Yeah, obviously we can go on and on. We have Timothy Oliphant in the news as also being in The Mandalorian season 2. I want to finish. I won't talk about that right now, but I do want to finish up with the idea of Rebels characters in general appearing in The Mandalorian or appearing in live action shows. We briefly talked about it when we mentioned Ezra, Emma, but what do you feel about other Rebels characters appearing in there? Whether it is someone we just saw in Squadrons, considering she's one
yeah.
Hera Syndulla.
Listen, I am very,
Chopper.
very firmly of the opinion that Hera and Chopper could both be sort of, they could be used effectively as Easter eggs in The Mandalorian. You know what I mean? Like, you don't need a lot of explanation in terms of incorporating Hera because she was somebody that was essential to the rebellion. So for her to kind of just show up within it would, I think that you could do that super duper easily without having to have a lot of context for who that character is. A little bit in the vein of, but I think to a bigger extent than she was included in, say, Rogue One, where you did hear her name over the loudspeaker and you did see Chopper. So,
That moment, and RB3 is here, so he can testify for that. When we saw Rogue One together, him and I went to see it on opening night.
Oh, yeah.
I legit jumped out of my seat and
Me too.
screamed when they were like General Syndulla, and I was like,
Yeah.
Like,
had that same reaction.
That was me, because Hera is RB3. Can you confirm or deny?
I
that
can
this is
definitely
correct?
confirm. This is definitely
There
correct.
you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and he was like, "What is going on? What are you talking about? Calm down. You're embarrassing me."
She's my fave.
she is one of my favorite Star Wars characters ever. I love Hera Syndulla. I would put her in my top 5, top 6 Star Wars characters.
I think I did put her as my number 1 when we
Really?
ranked them on Collider one time.
Oh, I put her in my top 5. I think I was with you on that, Emma, because I think we both mentioned
She made
Hera.
it. She and Sabine both made it into the top 10 Star Wars characters. So you know
Yeah.
what? I'm good with that. I'm good with that.
Yeah, Hera is incredible. She is a leader. She is a genius. She's an incredible pilot. Hera's my girl. I love Hera so much. So
Yeah, she's
shout
the
out to
best.
Hera Syndulla. All righty, let's finish up this segment and go to the chat real quick to see what the chat is saying. Star Wars Thrifting says, "OMG, Night Sister." That's a reference to what you were
Wouldn't that
saying.
be
That would be
dope?
incredible. I am fully behind that.
Oh, I like didn't want there to be any Force usage or Jedi at all in The Mandalorian. If I'm being totally honest, because I'm such a big proponent of. I like everything else about Star Wars so much. Like I love the story of the rebellion. I love the time period in The Mandalorian where they're trying to rebuild after the end of a revolution. But the way they incorporated it with Baby Yoda, I was like, all right, I'm fine with this. And you know what? If they're like, we're going to have a whole squad of Night Sisters, I'm in.
Yeah, something we didn't touch upon, Emma, and I kind
Yeah.
of want to briefly bring it up. Tamara Morrison returning as Boba Fett, or Tamara Morrison returning as Captain Rex. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I feel like Captain Rex is another one who you could easily incorporate.
Mhm.
We certainly know
Considering Ahsoka, we haven't even mentioned Ahsoka.
right. Consider
But that's
and also knowing for sure that he definitely made it through to the end of Star Wars Rebels.
Yes.
So we assume that he's certainly
He's in
still
Return of the
alive.
Jedi.
I know he's totally in Return of the Jedi. I love
Yeah.
that. So yeah, I think Captain Rex is another one who you could very easily incorporate as like a 1-episode character where somebody who has not watched Clone Wars or they haven't watched Rebels and they don't already have that emotional connection to that character aren't going to feel off-put by his presence, but people who know who he is can be excited about him. So Captain Rex gets a vote from me to probably be in The Mandalorian season 2.
Yeah, I want to finish up with Ahsoka because I think we have to mention Ahsoka.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on Ahsoka in live action form, played by Rosario Dawson, appearing in The Mandalorian? Do we think we're going to get a lot of her? Do we feel like it's maybe just like an episode or maybe just like 5 minutes in an episode? What do you think?
I'm not totally sure. And I
Okay.
think that is where we have the possibility of also incorporating Sabine, because she was, of course, supposed to have gone on a journey with Ahsoka to try and find Ezra. So, I mean, it's hard to say because I think, I mean, obviously Ahsoka does have a big connection to the Mandalorians as she, was on Mandalore and was present for the Siege of Mandalore, et cetera, and so forth. So there's a lot of history there. So I see Ahsoka more as like there's going to be a big battle situation and Ahsoka gets involved in the battle and then, maybe takes Baby Yoda to train him in the ways of the Force.
Yeah, that sounds insane. Well, there's a lot of speculation that we might see a continuation on from the history. We might see a different protagonist other than the Mandalorian is a
Yes.
little bit of what people are speculating. Have you heard that, Emma?
Not really, please.
Okay. So essentially the idea of like the Mandalorian is Baby Yoda or the Mandalorian is anything that's a creed, right? So it's the idea of
yeah.
any other character can take the place, whether it is Bo-Katan or a Sabine Wren, of Din Djarin as being the protagonist of the show. I don't know if you have any thoughts on the idea of like maybe Din doesn't make it. Maybe he, doesn't survive. And there has to be, like you said, Emma, a continuation where we do see maybe a Sabine or a Bo-Katan being the Mandalorian or Baby Yoda being the Mandalorian with Ahsoka or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, the title of the show, The Mandalorian, allows for stuff like that to happen.
So we could definitely Game of Thrones it and just kill him off. Do I think that that's going to happen? Not really, but I don't hate that speculation. I mean, as far as sort of the supporting characters go at this point, obviously I love Baby Yoda, and I'm intrigued by The Mandalorian because of his connection to the Mandalorians.
Yes.
But I haven't really found a character in the show that I feel intensely emotionally connected to the way I do to Sabine or a Hera or an Ahsoka Tano or an Ezra. So I would like to find that within the show.
Give Jin a chance, man. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah. Oh no, totally. But he for me is the closest.
Sure. Yeah, he shows a lot of emotion through that mask, and shout out to the actors who are under the suit.
Oh yeah.
I know there's a lot of Sun actors there, and to Pedro Pascal as well. I mean, you gave me a bit of a traumatic flashback, Emma, when you mentioned The Mandalorian and Pedro in the same sentence. That's not a good flashback for me. I know you were referring to Ned, but for me, I was like, oh no, Oberyn, R.I.P. I definitely don't want to see that go away. At least not go down that way.
Yeah. I don't
let's
think they're gonna kill him off. I think he's gonna be the
I was
hero.
gonna say, let's keep the brown people on the show, man. That's all I'm gonna say. Let's, we don't got a lot of us out there. You can stop killing us off. That's all I'm gonna say. So I say more of Pedro Pascal and more of The Mandalorian. But again, I would not be mad if we get Sabine or Bo-Katan to join them or join him on an adventure.
Show me his beautiful face. I just want to see his beautiful face more.
Yeah, I just want to see more of Baby Yoda.
Yeah.
Give me
Baby
more big
Yoda.
eyes.
Mm-hmm. And that scene in the first trailer that they dropped for this season where he like closes himself into his little pod.
Yeah, it's so funny how like he's perfectly self-aware. I rewatched the bone broth scene where the way he like brings it up and he's just like, it's almost like he's expressing like himself so much with just sipping a little cup. It's incredible. Shout out to that creative department for making that puppet. It's incredible. I feel like Werner Herzog.
Yes.
The way he like gushes over.
Oh my God, the way he described it was so funny. Because they were talking about, because he was telling a story, if y'all haven't seen it, about how they were shooting plates in case they needed to animate the baby because they weren't sure if the puppet was going to work. And he told them all they were cowards. So
yeah, I remember that. Yep. Star Wars Gallery. Shout out to Star Wars Gallery. Before we move on to our next segment, which is a great news segment, I want to give a shout out to the chat. Anyone who's still joining us, there's currently 33 of you guys here. I want to thank each and every one of you. Thank you so much. If you want to send us any special questions, or if you want to have a question read out loud, there's Streamlabs as well, right? RB3?
Yes, there is. Yes, firstcut.live. The link is in the top of the description below. That's the way you contribute. That's the way you participate and interact with the show. So far, we don't have any Streamlabs so far, but people, send them in. Ask these people a question. These are some of the most knowledgeable Star Wars voices in the entire world. So help us out.
Also, we're doing a new segment coming up later on. If you want to have your I'm going to tease it, team on the show, make sure you guys are ready to jump in there because it's going to be a lot of fun for one of our new segments here on Sabak the Block. So make sure you tune in. I want to briefly mention a new segment, if that's cool with you, RB3, on our POC Spotlight. Is that cool?
Absolutely.
So every week, guys, we want to give a spotlight to a Star Wars character of color, because I feel like that's something that's becoming more and more important, and it's something that's becoming more and more relevant on screen. And it's one of those things where we can see it in the pages, we could see it in the animation, which is so important, but seeing it on screen is something that's always so powerful to me, whether it's in the sequel trilogy or in the spin-offs. Shout out to my boy Cassian Andor. More and more, we need to see more representation of women of color, of people of color, in the Star Wars universe. And this week, I want to give a shout out and a spotlight to Dr. Aphra, Emma, a character who was first introduced in the Darth Vader comics.
Yep.
And a character that has kind of taken over. I recently interviewed the author of the Dr. Aphra audiobook. This is something that I'm going to tease RB3, but obviously we're going to show it maybe next week. You can let me know, RB3, if that's still the case. But either way, Dr. Aphra is an important character for a lot of people. She is, I love how Sarah Kuhn described her as openly, vividly Asian.
Yes.
And I think that's such a perfect description. Just like I say that Cassian is clearly Latino, even though he's not actually Latino. You know, we know that he's not.
Right.
But he's clearly Latino, bro. Like that's you can't tell me otherwise. And it's one of those things where that's the same with Aphra, even though she's on the pages, or even though she's in an audiobook, and we haven't visually seen her on screen played by an Asian actor, but we still get to see that representation in the comic books and in the audiobook. Emma, what is your connection with Dr. Aphra?
Well, I love the Darth Vader comic series that she first appeared in. So the thing that I really love specifically about this character is the fact that she is a morally gray character, which is not all that common in Star Wars, actually. That, you know, a lot of Star Wars is very much about this focus on sort of a battle between good and evil. And particularly, we don't get a lot of women that get to be sort of like flexible with their morality, shall we say. And that's one of the things that I love about the character of Dr. Aphra.
Yeah, I feel like she's the perfect combination of having this chaotic energy that you never know what she's going to do.
Yes.
But yet she's so rootable. I don't know if that's the word.
You root for her. Yeah.
Easy to root for.
Yeah.
Which I think is a great part of her character. I love seeing more women of color inside the Star Wars universe. I feel like that's a really important thing. And Dr. Aphra is that. And she happens to be a kind of a super genius with her knowledge of artifacts and with her knowledge of just everything in general.
Yeah.
She's able to keep up with people like Darth Vader and keep up with people who are much, much older than her. Shout out to Maz Kanata. I think that's a great scene. But either way, Dr. Aphra means so much to so many people, and I clearly wanted to give her a shout out. I love seeing different people cosplay as her, Emma.
Oh my God, yes.
Because I think that's just one of the most powerful things when people are able to cosplay a character that looks like them.
Because even characters like Rose, Kelly Marie Tran's character in the sequel trilogy, like Dr. Aphra existed before that. And so you had all of these Asian women that were reading Star Wars comics that went, oh my God, like there's finally somebody for me to be in Star Wars.
Yeah, and I think that means so much to so many people. And Aphra, she actually has a new comic out. I think it came out a couple of weeks ago, a new issue of her comic, I mean. So if you want to check out more of her story, go check out the Dr. Aphra comic book, which is kind of taking over the Star Wars universe and the Star Wars community by storm, because people are loving it right now. Apparently, it's a really cool adventure that she's going on, and people are loving it. So shout out to Dr. Aphra. Make sure you tune in here to First Cut for an interview with Sarah Kuhn, the author of the Dr. Aphra audiobook, coming to you soon. I'll say that. I'll leave it up to RB3 whenever he can do it, because he's doing a lot right now. And finally, I want to go to a new segment, Emma, a segment that I'm really excited for because I feel like there's a lot of possibilities for this. And this is something I've been wanting to do for a minute. It's the idea of a draft and the idea of a Star Wars all-star crew, a Star Wars all-star team. The NBA just finished up. Shout out to the NBA. I'm already heartbroken. I'm already missing it. It was an incredible year in basketball. And I thought, wouldn't it be cool to create your own Star Wars all-star team, draft your team in a specific scenario that fits that scenario perfectly, that puts you inside the Star Wars universe, and you have to pick your squad members. So welcome, guys, officially to Squad Up with Squad Leader Ace, the new Star Wars game where we will be squadding up joining a team, picking your team, your squad inside the Star Wars universe. For this time, we're doing it from any era, so feel free to open it up. I'm gonna make sure and narrow it down in other segments, but for today, any era, pick your team.
Okay.
We're gonna make a scenario up, and you are gonna have to pick your specific team members for this specific mission. With that being said, I'm gonna go ahead and read it, RB3, just because.
Okay.
I feel like I can go through it real quick. So this is your scenario. Anyone in the chat, anyone in the Streamlabs, this is your mission. You are an up-and-coming smuggler tasked with taking 2 high-value passengers to a crime boss on an outer rim planet. So you're taking 2 high-value passengers. You want to make sure they're safe. And this is an outer rim planet, and it's a crime boss, so there's going to be possibly danger on the way. You will need a discreet and reliable crew. So you're going to have to pick 3 members this time from the Star Wars universe to complete your mission. You will need these 3 types of members. Number 1, a bounty hunter for security and to dissuade any potential attack. So you want to make sure this bounty hunter is intimidating, because just being intimidating is going to get you some points. Number 2, a droid that is both loyal but also willing to follow orders. And number 3, a pilot who will provide speed but also be persuasive and capable of talking themselves out of any situation. So I'm going to read that again. You are a up-and-coming smuggler tasked with taking 2 high-value passengers to a crime boss on an outer rim planet. You will need a discreet and reliable crew. Select 3 members from the Star Wars universe to complete your mission. You need, number 1, a bounty hunter for security. Number 2, a droid that is loyal. And number 3, a pilot that is fast, but also capable of getting out of any situation. And obviously, I want to hear your guys' thoughts in the chats and in the Streamlabs. But the first person that is going to pick their Star Wars team is Emma 5.
Ooh,
Emma
I get to
5.
go first?
You get the number 1 pick.
Do I just pick my bounty hunter first and then you pick your bounty hunter?
You can pick your pilot first.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ooh, dang. Okay.
Or your droid.
I'm gonna go pilot first. Okay.
Okay. Once you pick one, you can go. I'll go back to me.
Okay, sounds good. Listen, pilot, I gotta go Lando.
Oh,
if you're talking
that's one I didn't expect.
Because if you're talking like gotta be able to fly a ship, but also like talk your way out of sticky situations, like you gotta go with the smoothest cat in the whole galaxy, and that's Lando Calrissian.
I don't even know if RB3 wants to play along, but I'm kind of curious now. RB3, do you have any thoughts or do you have anything in mind? If not, you can just say no and pass it to me.
Well, no, I mean Lando's an interesting pick. I mean, he's definitely probably one of the top pilots I think in the galaxy. I think that's that's a tough one. So I mean, Andres, you have a little bit of a challenge in your hand.
Yeah. So you don't have a pick, RB3?
Oh, do I have a pick for a pilot? Well, I don't want to take your I don't want to take your good picks. I mean,
no, you can pick if you want.
Well, I mean, how am I not going to pick Han Solo? I mean, come on now. I mean, if we're talking a pilot who's speed, I mean, come on now. Didn't he do the race?
The race.
Not
pod racing.
The Kessel Run.
The Kessel Run.
This is pod racing.
And 16 parsecs, right? If I'm not mistaken.
Nailed it. Totally crushed it, Arby.
Yeah. Movie trivia.
You're like Rey in Force Awakens.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
I think she says 14 in that, by the way. But either way, that's a great pick, RB3. Obviously, the chat keeps sounding off because I'm going to read off what you guys are saying. And if you want to have it read off on the Streamlabs, go ahead and let us know. Give us a shout out there. For my number 1 pick, Emma, you know what I'm doing? And I'm doing it just off pure love.
Okay.
I just mentioned this person a little bit ago. I'm going with the best pilot in the galaxy. And that is
Hera Syndulla. I thought about her too. I thought about Hera also.
If there's any pilot who can beat anyone, and she's very smart. Like she's hyper
She's
smart.
very smart. Yeah.
I'm going Hera Syndulla as
Okay.
my number one pick. So
Yep.
you can go ahead and get your number two pick, which is either a droid or a bounty hunter.
All right. Here's my number two pick. I'm going with a droid for my
Ooh.
number two pick. And I'm picking 000. So 000, for anybody who doesn't know, is a protocol droid who is one of Dr. Afra's companions. She travels with two droids, 000 and BT. And 000 is, let me just read you a little bit here because this just gives you a really great
Yeah. He's a violent dude.
explanation. Yeah. So basically, he's a protocol droid designed to specialize in etiquette, customs, translation, and torture.
Yikes.
So,
Big ol' yikes.
listen, but the thing is he's still a protocol droid. So he's got all the functions you need, which is like, I can speak every single language. I can also communicate with machinery, but if I got to torture someone, I'm ready.
Yeah. 000 is a great pick. He's definitely what it's a persuasive interrogation, I guess
Yeah.
is what you can call it.
Yep.
That's a speciality,
Yep.
as Obi-Wan would say. Yeah, that's a great pick, Emma. RB3, I want to give you a chance, man, just because I'm excited to see what you would pick as your number two pick.
I gotta think about that. I'm trying to.
It could be a bounty hunter or a droid.
I'm gonna go with a droid, just since Emma
Okay.
picked a droid. Y'all might have to point me in the direction of this droid in particular, but the one from Jedi Fallen Order.
Oh,
BD.
BD.
Is that what his name is?
Yeah, that's
He's
what
so
it is. Yeah, the little
cute.
cute little shoulder.
Yeah, BD1.
BD1.
I'm sure it's
Yeah.
BD1.
Get you into all
Yeah.
kinds of doors. Always there to unlock chests for you, and just the overall great companion. I mean, I feel like there was multiple times in this game that you couldn't get past a single level without BD1. So
It's
I
true.
swear, BD1
He's a good
is
pal.
it is like low key, like one of the best droids. I definitely have to give you a shout out to that RB3 because that's a great pick.
I'm a fan.
He's like a little reliable puppy where he's like super cute, but he's also like, I got your back every time. Yeah, that's a great choice. Alrighty, since you guys picked the droid, I'm going to pick a droid. And obviously I want to keep giving a shout out to the chat. Keep going, guys. Any other picks or any thoughts on our picks? But for my droid, I'm going with the clutchest, the Jimmy Butler of droids. That's a shout out to you, RB3, or a shot to you. The Jimmy Butler of droids, the one who's scrappy, who fights, and who's clutch as hell. And it's an astromech droid. Is it? No, it's not R2. I'm going Chopper, guys. I picked Hera. I gotta go with Chopper. I mean, that's the combo. That's the team. That's the duo. That's the LeBron and the Anthony Davis. That's the Shaq and Kobe.
Here's my thing about Chopper. I love Chopper.
Come on, Chopper's clutch.
As y'all know, is like my favorite droid. I stan, but follows orders, not so much.
True, but it's Hera. But it is
Fair,
Hera.
fair.
I picked Hera. If it wasn't
All
Hera,
right.
then if it was Han or if it was Lando, then maybe it would have been a tougher choice. But for Hera, for that duo, that dynamic duo, the Jimmy Butler of droids, I'm picking Chopper. My boy Chopper.
you can't keep saying the Jimmy Butler of droids because Jimmy Butler lost. He lost.
Well, I mean, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, bro. But he carried that whole team on his back. He won 2 games, 40 points, triple doubles, 35-point triple double in Game 5. Come on, man, you got to give him credit. Let's just go into basketball talk real quick. This is no longer Star Wars talk. This is NBA talk. But either way, Chopper's my choice, which means you get the final
It's a good
choice,
pick.
a
It's
bounty
good
hunter.
pick. Yeah.
Emma. What is your final choice to finish up your Star Wars team that is taking these 2 high-value passengers to an outer rim planet, to a crime boss, which is a very dangerous mission? Your squad, your all-star squad for the first episode of Sabak the Block.
Okay. I'm going to go with the most infamous Duros in the galaxy. I'm going Cad Bane, baby.
That was my pick. No.
Cad Bane's the dopest bounty hunter in Star Wars.
Cad
Full
Bane was
stop.
mine.
Full stop.
Oh, dang it. I'm so bummed out now.
Yeah, if y'all haven't watched Clone Wars and don't know about Cad Bane, highlight what's going on. There's one of my cats. Yeah, I mean, he's just like, he's sick, you know? He fights with two guns. He wears a sweet hat and a trench coat. Like, if you want to talk about a bounty hunter that's going to strike fear into the hearts of all, you got to go Cad Bane.
Yeah, Cad is definitely probably the unanimous pick in my opinion. He's the LeBron James of bounty hunters. I keep making basketball references, but he kind of is. Like, he really is that overpowered, passer and scorer, and he's intimidating as hell. Yeah, Cad Bane's a great choice. RB3, what is your bounty hunter, man?
Well, let me see here. Well, I mean, according to Google, I mean, I don't know, man. I don't see this.
There's a really good suggestion in chat. Like, I would have picked what chat is saying had I not gotten Cad Bane, who was my pick.
Okay. Well, I don't really know who this person is who they're saying in chat, but I did see here that IG88 is a bounty hunter according to.
Yes, he technically is a bounty hunter droid. Yeah.
So I mean, why not have two droids in there? There's no point of losing human life. And
IG88 puts the fear in a lot of people around the galaxy. So that is definitely
a solid pick.
A good choice for sure, man. I hear the chat and I really want to go with him. I do, but part of me is also like, man, there's one person that just embodies intimidation just by the look of them. So I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna go against the chat. I'm picking what Val wanted in Solo instead of Han, instead of Chewie. She said she wanted Bossk. I'm picking my boy Bossk.
I considered Bossk also.
Bossk is a scary dude. I mean, Bossk has a creepy voice. He's got a lisp, but that's even scarier because that homie with a lisp is like, oh, he can throw hands.
I have a very personal, traumatizing connection to Bossk that is not Star Wars canon at all, but is in my Star Wars canon. Oh, it got bad. One of the characters in our campaign had like a history with Bossk, and Bossk, he came after us and he invaded the ship while we were all gone at this like Mandalorian shrine, and it was bad. It was really, really bad. We had to go like rescue a couple of NPCs from a warehouse, and one of them almost died, like got stabbed. It was horrible. It was horrible.
Ooh. So even more reason for my choice.
Yeah,
Bossk.
I support it.
Alrighty, guys. Emma, what is your full squad lineup, your all-star team? Run us down for it.
Okay, well, we in our pilot's chair have got the most smooth-talking pilot in the galaxy, one Mr. Lando Calrissian. In the droid portion of our lineup, we have got...
Is it Billy D or is it the Donald Glover?
It's Donald Glover. It's totally Donald Glover.
Gotcha.
And then in our droid position, for a droid who is, good at following orders, even if those orders are to, torture somebody painfully and awfully, we have got 000, the only protocol droid in the galaxy who's also a murderer. And then in our third slot, to add to the intimidation factor, we have got the sharpshooter, double-wielding gunslinger himself, Mr. Cad Bane.
That's a great team. RB3, what's your team?
Well, I got to go with the infamous Han Solo as the pilot of the ship, of course. And then for our droid, got to show love to BD1. Really loyal, always stays on your shoulder, literally on your shoulder. And of course, a bounty hunter, another droid, IG88. We got two droids on the team and Han Solo. It looks pretty unstoppable.
Oh yeah, that's a great team. My team, guys, for reference, is the best pilot in the galaxy once again, Harrison Dula, bringing along her reliable clutch droid, her Jimmy Butler. I keep saying that. Mr. Chopper in the house. Chopper is the GOAT. And also finishing off my team, I have the intimidating Trandoshan. Mr. Bossk himself is in the house, is in the lineup. These all seem like successful missions to me. I don't know about you guys. I'm gonna jump to the chat real quick to see what you guys thought and what you guys picked. All righty, let's do this. Garrett McDowell's in the chat. Shout out to Garrett McDowell. He was on the show. We talked about I'm thinking of ending things. It was a
Charlie
great
Kaufman.
podcast.
Yeah.
Charlie Kaufman and his filmography. He says, congratulations on the new show. Couldn't have asked for a better pairing. Thank you, man. We appreciate that.
Thanks, man.
All right. That nerd says, Bosk, you've only seen him once. He's a master of hiding. That's could be true.
I mean, accurate.
He says
Accurate.
R2D2 is the master hacker. And he says Wedge Antilles because he's flown through 60 years and is still alive.
You know what?
That's
I
true.
can't argue with that logic.
Yeah, that's true.
That's good.
Let's fly, Lando.
That's
Sorry,
good.
every time in Rise of Skywalker.
Yep.
Jason Polensky says Ventress, R2, and Cassian. Ooh,
Ooh.
that's a different one. I don't know if Cassian, I could see Cassian throwing it down.
Yeah.
Star Wars Thrifting says IG-11, R2D2, and Hera. There you go. I got the Hera there. R2D2 is like, I threw a little bit of shade at him. He's like the Michael Jordan of droids, and I had to pick someone else. So everyone picks R2. So you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Amazing.
Listen, there's no shade to R2. I love R2.
Yeah,
but there's
of
just
course.
for
He's
this
the GOAT.
for this sort of sketchy mission, I feel there are better choices.
He would speak up a lot. He would definitely be like, hey, this is not right. Hey, this is
Yeah,
wrong. Like he
yeah.
speaks up like he did in Revenge of the Sith. He kept saying, yo, something's off.
Yeah, true.
And then C-3PO kind of waved him off. He was like, dude, it's fine.
Yeah.
Amazing Web says Han, Asajj, and Chopper. That's a great.
Oh, that's a good lineup. Yeah.
A lot of people are saying Asajj. What do you think of that, Emma?
Asajj Ventress, she's
As a bounty
dope.
hunter?
Oh, hell
she's
yeah.
amazing.
You know how I feel about Night Sisters.
Asajj is dope.
And Asajj Ventress is another one of those great characters who kind of got to live in the gray a little bit in the way that Ahsoka does.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
I mean, obviously it's like opposite ends of the spectrum. Ahsoka was part of the Jedi Order. Asajj Ventress was Count Dooku's apprentice, but both of them ended up somewhere in the middle, which I love.
Yeah. Pete Wiz says Din Djarin, Sabine Wren, and Chopper. Ooh.
But
That's
who
a
of
fun
them
one.
are you, because
I would assume Din is-
because Din Djarin is a bounty hunter.
Bounty hunter, yeah. So that means Sabine would be the pilot. She's a good pilot.
Yeah.
She's solid.
All right.
Billy P says K2SO, Poe Dameron, and Bosk. Ooh.
Oh, that's a good squad. I definitely
Ooh.
considered K2 as my droid. I
Poe,
definitely
though.
considered K2.
Poe is one of the best pilots.
Poe is a
for
great,
sure.
great choice for a pilot.
Yeah,
great
homie-
choice for the pilot.
Homie can fly for sure. He's an amazing pilot. I can fly anything. All right, let's see who else is here. Oh, they're giving us the reactions for our choices. People saying Chopper. Someone mentioned Zeb too. That's an interesting
I
choice.
love Zeb.
Yeah. What if we see a live action Zeb? We didn't even mention that.
Listen, I'm ready. I'm ready for some live action Lasat. It's what the world deserves.
Yeah. People are also talking about your cat, Emma.
Yes, I do have. Well, there's 3 cats here right now, 2 of which are mine and 1 of which is a foster. So if you live in the Los Angeles area and you want a very small cat who is very cute and a girl, let me know.
There you go. Bradley Burnett also said, who is the basketball equivalent of Dengar? Do you have a choice for that, RB3?
Who's Dengar? Is that familiar?
Yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, he's in Empire Strikes Back. He's in the background.
Oh, okay.
But he's also in the
background.
comics.
Yeah.
That's kind of. I mean, if you
That's
follow the
accurate,
movie,
though. Yeah.
I mean,
I mean, to be fair, that's what Bosk is too. He's in Empire Strikes Back. He's in the
true,
background.
but he's intimidating. He's a giant
He's
lizard
scary.
man,
He is scary.
which is scary.
We also have Streamlabs too here.
Oh, let's go to the Streamlabs, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Again, people, firstcut.live. That's where you could check out and donate to our show. And by the way, this is the segment of the show. That's the Q&A segment, which means if you want to interrupt the conversation, not interrupt necessarily, but if you want your message played out loud with a robot, $10 and up donations will be played when they arrive, or if somebody's speaking when they arrive, they'll be paused, and then we'll play them later. Okay, so we have one from Billy Polahan. First off,
Billy.
thank you, Billy. First off, love the show. Every host rocks. My question is, do y'all think the potential amount of old characters could be a bit Djarin. There we go.
It's a joke. Yeah. Jar, like Din Djarin.
Oh,
Djarin.
got it.
Jarring.
I see.
Is that the end of it, or is there more? Ooh,
That's definitely
had that ready.
No, that's the end of it. It's the end of it.
So this is something that's been said a lot. It's been discussed a lot, Emma.
Yeah.
Notoriously, I have to give a shout out / shade towards Alex Damon, who said that he doesn't want, no, not shade, mad shade.
Right.
Like,
yeah.
he said he doesn't want too many like older characters showing up in these live action Disney shows. And I was like, I want the opposite. Give me all
You do
the
want the opposite, Ace. I know you.
No.
I remember when we were making predictions for Rise of Skywalker, and you're like, everything's gonna be in there.
You're like, I want to see Mace
Star Wars.
I want to see Mace Windu pop up with this purple lightsaber and just be like, "What up?"
I do think that it is potentially a bit jarring, especially because we do know already that there are certain characters that are going to be in The Mandalorian who come from the animated series. But I present to you the example being Star Wars Rebels. Ooh. So yes, Star Wars Rebels is definitely a sequel to the Clone Wars. It definitely is. However, you don't have to have seen all of Clone Wars to like Star Wars Rebels. I know plenty of people who love Star Wars Rebels and have not seen Clone Wars or watched it after they watched Star Wars Rebels because they're like, dope, I want to see more Captain Rex. And yet characters from Clone Wars, namely Captain Rex, Ahsoka Tano, even Hondo Ohnaka had a lot of a recurring role within Rebels. Sham Syndulla, Hera's father, he was in an episode of Rebels. She is his daughter. But it wasn't necessary to have like really emotionally invested in Clone Wars to get emotionally invested in those characters in Star Wars Rebels. So I do think that considering that it is Dave Filoni who is behind all of those projects, that they will incorporate the characters in such a way that even if you personally are watching and they are new to you, they will still feel like characters who you care about.
That's spot on. Yeah, I do feel like we won't necessarily get this kind of overtaking of the show.
No, they
like
no,
all
no.
of a sudden in Ahsoka, it's the Ahsoka Tano
totally,
show.
Yeah, like Ahsoka came on Star Wars Rebels. Yes, there is a story arc at the end of season 2 that is very much about her.
Yeah.
But it's also about Ezra.
Yeah.
And again, with another character who was first of all brought back into Clone Wars and then brought back into Star Wars Rebels, which is Darth Maul. Now, the mistake is now they did a good job of incorporating Darth Maul both into Clone Wars and into Rebels. However, I understand people potentially being a little hesitant because the way Darth Maul was incorporated into Solo was just confusing for people who'd never seen Clone Wars or Rebels. But I don't think that that's what's going to happen in Mandalorian.
Sure. I do feel like, I feel like that's fair. And I feel like sometimes I put on my super fan goggles and I'm just like diving in headfirst into like, let's go even deeper and make even more references to some of my favorite characters. I do acknowledge that some people don't necessarily know about them. And we should maybe, like people say, Jason Polensky says, expand a galaxy. He says, I'm with Alex on this one. We should expand the galaxy. That's a fair point. I do acknowledge that.
Yeah. It's a balance. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I'm not worried.
Absolutely. Any other Streamlabs RB3?
No other Streamlabs. You already read the super chat that we got from Garrett. And again, people, $10 Streamlabs and super chats will be read out loud. Just a reminder in case you didn't know. But yeah, thank you guys. No other Streamlabs at this moment.
Thank you so much.
I'm sorry. We actually do have one. I'm sorry.
Okay.
I thought we read it and we didn't. We have one from Fillmore Pockets. Thank you for the donation. Thank you guys. Why does your Streamlabs have so much sauce? This is nice. Tell Roka, Winston, and them to step up their game. Hey man, that's the first cut promise, you know. always trying to do.
What's the sauce? What's he referring to, man?
Go to First Cut Live, firstcut.live, and look at how saucy we are. We keep our site pretty fresh, so you know we try and do our best.
You said First Cut Live. This is all you, bro. So give yourself a shout out right now.
Oh man, there's no need to shout me out.
It is. It's definitely a flashy looking Streamlabs.
Hey, thank you. Definitely want people to get the full experience when they come into the First Cut.
I'm just gonna tell people to come here next time to watch the show because this is very aesthetically pleasing.
Yeah. You can watch the show. Playlists are accessible. We have our Twitter feed. Yeah, it's all there. It's all there.
Look at us, man. We're like we're doing
so
stuff.
legit.
Yeah, obviously, thank you so much for everyone who's joined already.
Yeah.
And yeah, this is a lot of sauce, man. This is some Nolan type.
Hey.
A little extra sauce, a little extra salt that Nolan puts into all his movies.
Gotta do it right. And we also have another Streamlab that just came in from the Amazing Web. Thank you, the Amazing Web was the first comment of the day. We gotta highlight those more often.
Yay.
I'm sure you will answer this a lot in future shows, and probably already have. But what do you guys want to see happen with our homies Ray, Finn, Poe, etc. down the line?
Wow, great question. What do you think, Emma? Because this is a loaded question, considering
such a loaded question.
It just came out last year, the movie.
Yeah. I don't think that I have come to a conclusion about what I want to happen with those characters as of just yet. You know, I'm marinating a liton on how the story ended. I do, you know, just really want Finn and Poe to happen and just to be happy and married and in love in the galaxy at some juncture. But outside of that, I don't really know. I was never somebody that growing up watching the original Star Wars trilogy felt like I needed to see more of those characters. So I'm a big fan of stories ending.
Yeah, that's my thing too, is I feel like maybe it's just because it's so fresh that we just had their conclusion and we had their story, that maybe like 20 years from now, or maybe 10, 15 years from now, or even 5 years from now, we could be like, hey, do we want to see maybe an appearance on a Disney Plus show? Do we want to see a cameo in something else? Do we want to see maybe a comic or a book of their continuation of their story? All those possibilities seem to be there and for the taking in the future. But when it comes to like in the near future, like maybe a year or two from now, I think we should give it a rest as far as the Skywalker storyline, considering we just finished it with episode 9 and the Rise of Skywalker.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel like there's new characters and new stories that we can tell. And we have maybe a new movie with Taika Waititi, if that's still a thing.
I mean, 2020, man, who knows?
Who knows?
Well, I think that perfectly transitions into another question we just received from the Amazing Web. Again, thank you, the Amazing Web.
Thank you so much.
Sorry, thought of another question. You can greenlight one Star Wars project. What is it?
Oh, it's a live action Disney Plus series that is just exactly pencils and parsecs.
Oh, okay. Look at that. Yeah, that would that would be cool. I don't even know. Like, if this was a question that was asked to me 5-6 years ago, I honestly would have said Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Yeah.
Because I've been saying that forever, right?
Yeah.
I've been saying that since the prequels.
Yeah.
So it's been like years since I've been saying I want to see more of Ewan McGregor's Obi-Wan, but we're gonna get that now. So now I don't even know. Part of me, you know what I want? I'm gonna give a shout out to the character we just gave a shout out to today. Give me a live action Dr. Aphra. I feel
like there's been rumors swirling around that
there has
happening, but nothing confirmed.
Wouldn't that be a great show?
Oh,
I thought that would be such a cool show, because it could be like, you know,
well, it's
adventures
like Indiana
that she goes
Jones,
on.
yeah, but Star Wars, and it'd be dope. Yeah. I'd totally watch a Dr. Aphra show.
Yeah, give me a Dr. Aphra live action Star Wars show on a Disney Plus, or even a cameo in a movie or an appearance in a movie, I'd be happy with that, because I do feel like this character can offer so much in the universe, considering she represents so much already.
Yeah.
So I feel like she's one of those characters that means so much and that represents so much inside the Star Wars universe in a comic book. How much more can she do in a live action show or in a live action movie? Sky's the limit for Dr. Aphra. So that'll be my answer for that.
My answer will be pretty quick and definitive. The Rian Johnson trilogy that they've announced. Yeah.
Crap. Is that even still happening?
I mean, I don't know.
What do you think, RB3?
I don't know if it's still happening. I mean, I want it to still happen. I mean, that would get me more excited than anything. That would be my most anticipated thing, for sure. But I don't know if it's greenlit or not yet. So that's why I wonder.
Yeah. It's such a this will be our final conclusion, Emma, just because I feel like it's just too juicy to not take it.
Okay.
Rian Johnson, do you feel like if you're an executive now, time is the best medicine?
Yes.
Do you feel like now is the perfect time to kind of say, let's do it? Rian Johnson trilogy. People have moved on. Ryan can knock it out of the park, and I feel like his vision is great. Or do you say, you know what, this whole wound or whatever fandom is too sore, let's move on and try different stories with maybe a Taika or another director? What do you think?
I mean, listen, if I had the ability to greenlight this and just do it, I think that having Rian Johnson do his own trilogy is the best thing that they can do for Rian Johnson, because even a lot of people who did not care for the story choices in The Last Jedi still recognize that it is an incredibly well-made film. And even though I'm a Last Jedi stan, I love it. It's easily my favorite of the sequel trilogy. I do feel like I understand why some people were upset with some of the choices that were made. But again, a lot of people, even that didn't like it, are like, well, Rian Johnson is a great filmmaker.
Yes.
Or at least he is an interesting filmmaker who is trying to say and do something different, I think, with Star Wars. And I believe that given the opportunity to tell a story where people aren't already so emotionally wrapped up in how they would end the story because they don't already know these characters. I mean, I think that's just the ticket right there.
Yeah, I do acknowledge that. And I feel like a lot of people do, especially after Knives Out, because I feel like Knives Out.
Oh my God, Knives Out is so good.
Right? I put it in my top 10 of the year. Maybe even my top 5. I love that movie. RB3 and I love that movie.
Oscar nominated too. Oscar nominated.
So
Oscar
good.
nominated. It's such a good movie. And I feel like that's the universally loved movie. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like most people walked out of that movie and were like, yo, that was awesome. That was so fun. That I feel like that is kind of the best thing someone like a Rian Johnson can do, is to follow up a divisive movie, because I still feel like Last Jedi is awesome, but divisive movie with a movie that most people love, that it's a universally kind of enjoyed movie, to move into the next chapter in the Star Wars universe. But I can also see the argument of Ryan kind of being like, you know what? Maybe this is kind of where my bread and butter is at. Maybe I should move on from telling these stories. And maybe he doesn't want to have that burden on him. Doing a trilogy.
I don't know though, because I feel like based on interviews I saw him do around the time that he was doing publicity for Knives Out, anytime somebody asked him something about Star Wars, he was so gracious and he was so, he reflected so positively on it. Yeah, he loves
Star Wars. Yeah. Yeah.
He
when
loves
you see
Star
the behind the
Wars.
scene of The Last Jedi, the documentary.
Yeah.
He's having a blast.
Yeah.
Like, he's literally like, this is so fun.
Yeah.
So you could tell that he really does have a lot of passion for it. Yeah, I could see both arguments. I could see him being like, I love this world. I will gladly come back. But I can also see like maybe he's like, you know what? I'm good. I'm going to keep making Knives Out or make more movies like Knives Out, which I would be happy with too.
Completely.
So that's my thoughts on that. Bradley Burnett in the chat says, my feelings on The Last Jedi are very mixed, but I would like to see Ryan do his own story in the Star Wars universe. So there you go. RB3, you have anything?
Actually, speaking of Bradley Burnett, he sent in a big donation, so it will actually be read out loud now.
Oh.
Bradley Burnett donated $20. No question, just support. So good to see him and Andres talk Star Wars again. If you ever have guests, there is a guy named Ken who might be good. That Star Wars RPG sounds like a good watch or fourth rewatch.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I don't know who this Ken is.
Yeah. We'll have to see if we can fit him into our schedule.
Yes.
Thank you so much, Bradley. That's amazing. Star Wars Thrifting says, after watching The Last Jedi, I was shocked because it wasn't like any Star Wars movie I've seen. To me, that was exciting.
Yeah, that's how I felt too.
I really do feel like this is the perfect watch double kind of movie. Like you have to see it twice to really form your opinion on it. At least that's my opinion on The Last Jedi.
I think so too. Yeah, I remember more so though leaving the theater after seeing Last Jedi. I was just again, it was not what I was expecting at all.
Yeah.
Especially to me, the thing that was and one of the things that people criticized it for, which is a completely valid criticism, is the way the movie ended. They're like, well, they have no idea where they're going. And I'm like, no, that's exciting because now they can literally go anywhere.
Yeah.
That was how I felt about it.
Yeah. No, I remember feeling very positive on The Last Jedi, and then just rewatching it and feeling even more positive on it as well.
That throne room fight scene is
great.
So good.
Yeah.
Whew, love it.
Anything with Kylo and Rey in that movie is spot on.
Yeah, that storyline was really good.
I still love their interactions, or their Skype calls are amazing.
Yeah, for Skype is incredible.
It's great.
Yeah, I can quote that whole movie by heart, literally, because I've seen it like 100 times. Shout out to the Star Wars Trivia Schmodown. As soon as they said, like, your final 5-point question, The Last Jedi, I was like, oh,
I got this, bro.
I got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go, RB3. I was like, oh, I got Last Jedi. That's a movie I've seen a lot. I know that movie by heart.
I think even Ryan Johnson wouldn't have known the answer to that question, though. Ace.
I think so too. Yeah,
he did, because it's a reference to another film that he was, because he references like 50 movies in The Last Jedi or something.
He does,
like 25 movies or something. There's an article on it. I forget the name of the author who wrote about all the references that The Last Jedi makes to like old movies, but that's one of the old movies that he references, that parking ticket violation. Which is why I memorized it, because I was like, oh, this has to be important. But yeah, I know that movie by heart. I literally know every line. Shout out to The Last Jedi.
Yeah.
We have another super chat. It is
sweet.
by Rock in Movies with Tyler. Says, hey guys, glad to see the Jedi Council reunion. Thank you so much. We appreciate it.
Yeah, if you appreciate and you enjoy seeing the Jedi Council reunion, Emma Fife, Andres Cabrera, make sure that you like this video, leave a comment, participate, and just share it out. Tweet it out. We're going to be, in coming weeks, we will not just be going live on YouTube. We'll be going live on Twitter and Instagram and Facebook and on multiple platforms. So sharing us and supporting us and sharing out the show on those platforms will be really great for us as well. But just for right now, shout the YouTube link. Hit that little share button on YouTube, share it, put it on Twitter, tell your friends that this is a great new Star Wars show with two awesomely positive people. That's worthy of being celebrated, I think.
Thank you so much, RB3. Thank you for being the tech guy, the behind the scenes guy, for your input. For doing this first episode. And thank you, Emma Fife, for joining me today. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you. Yeah, this was so great. I'm so happy to be back talking Star Wars, just in time for The Mandalorian to come back, which is definitely my kind of Star Wars. So
yeah. Obviously, we're going to keep doing this, guys. Sabak the Block. For now, it will be a weekly show. There's plenty to talk about. We'll make it a weekly show. Yeah. Just for you guys. 6 p.m. live every Tuesday on First Cut, Sabak the Block. Tune in every week. RB3, did we take a screenshot? Or no? If not, we can take one right now and pretend that this is a genuine moment, but it's not. It's a pre-planned meeting.
Okay, we could try. Yeah, let's.
Well, I don't know if you have anything in the screen that you want to.
I was like, do we act like we're talking?
Yeah,
Oh, no,
just we do have even that Dr. Afra comic is perfect.
Oh yeah, I like that
Still have
Dr.
that up.
Afra. Yeah, I like that one a lot.
So
Yeah, just
this
say
is
cheese
us
for the camera.
pretending.
Yeah. All right. Perfect.
Okay. This was very awkward, but we had to do it. We had to do it live because otherwise, who knows, guys? Either way, guys, thank you so much for watching.
Yes,
Sabah,
thank you.
the blog. This was a lot of fun. Shout out to everyone in the chat who joined us today. Farewell, guys. And remember, if you're going to play the game, play it fair and square.
Oh.